Hey guys, Cal here bringing you another video. This one is going to be an 8.5 Tails deck tech. We've made plenty of decks in the past. This is just an updated version. If you want to see the updates live, of course, follow the Mox field, a link in the description below. However, we're going to be trying to get these out once every 2 months, or if there's a really big change that I feel like it is worth putting out a video sooner. So if we go back to last video, the changes we've made is we've added Howling Mine effects as well as more generic big beaters, and we've taken out a few cards. A little less interaction because we've noticed that through board wiping lot, we kind of sit on this single target removal that we don't really need in the deck anymore. So let's go straight into it. If you want a more overview, you can read what I wrote already, but let's get right into it. If you are new, 8.5 Tails is 1 white, 1 any to give protection protection white to any of your permanents, and for 1 mana you can make target spell a permanent white until end of turn. This is really good because it combos nicely with our Ugin, as we can make any artifact or land even white and blow it up. However, this is bracket 3. If you aren't comfortable blowing up lands, you can cut Ugin. I have Ugin here not for blowing up lands. It's nice to have in case you need the land destruction to blow up like 1 or 2, but it's mostly here as a way to remember what we could do in the past and no longer can. Of course, you can still do it, just talk to your playgroup before you drop the Ugin. So, let's get straight into it. We have very simple cards in Esper Sentinel and Serra Ascendant and Weathered Wayfarer, just draw, protection, and finding your land. Serra Ascendant is really nice at protecting our life total, however. Of course, you can drop it, swing for 6, gain 6, but I like having it as more of a ghostly prison, keeping it back, making it so that no one really wants to get rid of it because it's not doing anything, but no one really wants to attack into you, preserving your life total. A lot of times you end up dying to your low life total, and just being able to preserve it as long as possible will make it so that you will win more games. We have a little equipment package, so that's why we have Cloud and Stoneforge Mystic. Cloud doubling up those triggers is very nice and is a great addition to the deck. We have Flumph as a way to deter attackers, preserve our life total again. However, you can be political with this card and draw you and one other opponent a card. Say if you attack into my Flumph, if you don't kill it, I'll block and we both can draw cards, is a great way to get that card draw and be political. This is a very political deck. We draw our opponents a lot of cards, and being able to leverage your political side is going to guarantee you a lot of power when it comes to playing this deck. If you're not very good politically, maybe this deck might feel a little off, but of course, it's something that you should learn in Commander to kind of run with the politics, and this will definitely get you better at that. Aven Interrupter is a way to interact on the stack. Loran Third Path is a way to blow up artifact and enchantment, but we mostly have it here to draw us an opponent card. Yeah, that's just kind of what it is. We have the Scrawling Crawler as a way to draw everyone a card and burn our opponents for drawing cards. This will kind of chip people out and hopefully get them to a low enough life total that we can more easily kill them with that, combat damage. But we also have more synergies that we'll go over later in the video, but pretty much I'll say this before we hit the Howling Mine effects. Howling Mine effects have not burned me yet. If you've been burned in the past, just kind of think of Howling Mine effects as a way to draw your allies' cards as well as draw your enemies' cards. In Commander, usually there's 1 arch enemy and 3 people trying to take him out. So even though you're drawing the arch enemy an additional card, you should be drawing you and your allies additional cards, making it harder for you to lose to that arch enemy. This doesn't always happen, but try to think of it more in that context. If you don't have it, you don't have it, and that's with drawing a card normally anyways. So giving your opponents more opportunity to stop each other will draw out your game longer, hopefully, as well as have them play more cards to the board, making so your board wipes are more powerful, as well as drawing you into your more powerful thing. So it's symmetrical, it goes for everyone. Try not to be too scared of it, and hopefully you'll have as much success as I have. where Fox Bodyguard is just a way to remove things, but it's really great at protecting your stuff from board wipes or reusing ETBs, or if your opponent has even an ETB that you want to kind of be political about, you can, of course, blink their thing to maybe deal with something else. So where Fox Bodyguard, very flexible, I'm very happy with it. Mangara draws cards and gains us life, very good. Aerial Extortionist draws us cards and removes things, both our opponents and ours. We'll go over things that we might want to remove on our side, but Aerial Extortionist has definitely overperformed every single time I play it, and I recommend if you don't play Aerial Extortionist to definitely give it a go. Just remember to draw the card if you get it, because no one else will remember your trigger. Solitude, removal. Angel of Indemnity and Sun Titan bring back things from the grave. We usually use this as ramp in the late game to really get to our big bombs. Of course, if it's post-Wrath and you have a lot of mana, you can bring back something that you lost. But I mostly use this as a way to ramp and get to those higher thresholds to turn on our lands that we'll talk about later. So I recommend using these cards as ramp more so than like bringing back value pieces. Also, Angel gains you life, which is nice. Steel Hellkite is a colorless attacker, which means that it won't get blown up by the Ugin, which is really nice. We make a lot of mana, making it so that it attacks well and it blows up people's boards. So, very good card. Whenever I play it, it dies though, so I haven't really got to feel the true power of it, but hopefully it's a good enough card. Nonetheless, I like how it looks. If you don't like Steel Hellkite, definitely you can cut it. Wormcoil Engine does everything we want. It attacks well, it blocks well, it gains us life. What else could you ask for? It also survives the Wrath by leaving back 2 babies. Just a very strong card, especially when we're trying to kill people with combat damage. Elesh Norn, just great in any combat damage based deck, making our opponent's creatures smaller, making our creatures bigger, helping us close out the game. Amir's Shepherd brings things back. Again, wrathing the board allows us... wrathing the board, we want ways to bring things back. And if you wrath your Sun Titan and Angel and then drop Emeria, you can play Emeria, play Plains, bring back Sun Titan, bring back a Plains, bring back Angel, bring back a Plains, and then maybe bring back another huge bomb. Pretty much rebuilding instantly for 7 mana and a land drop is just... It's really powerful and just a really... it's just a really powerful thing you can be doing with Emeria here, Emeria Shepherd. Avacyn, Angel of Hope, great attacker, great blocker, also protects both itself and the team from board wipes, just helping you again close out the game. Zetalpa is a mini Avacyn, it's just better at holding swords. Avacyn is kind of just better all other times, but again, great attacker, great blocker, survives the Wrath, holds swords very well. Again, another thing that we just want to see more of. Kozilek draws us cards and has Annihilator, just is strong. There is a little non-bow with the Shuffle Titans shuffling in our graveyard. We have a lot of graveyard recursion, but their upside is worth the downside here, so that's why we have it. Their Annihilator is just too good to pass up. And the Ulamogs, of course, remove things when they come down. Having more removal, stopping our opponents, making sure that we can really clock them for a lot of damage is something that we value a lot here. Just big beaters, big beaters. Moving on, we have card draw and cut a deal. Again, drawing our opponent's cards. Search for Glory, finding us our legendary cards. Secret Rendezvous, drawing us and another opponent a lot of cards. Hopefully you have an ally or there's someone popping off and you're going to draw the person who most likely has answers into those answers, or if someone's just so far behind that they don't matter, just draw them 3 cards. Definitely try out Secret Rendezvous. It's never really failed me, but of course every person is different, and if you feel like it's failing you a lot, so be it. But yeah, that's kind of the point of the deck. So Secret Rendezvous has a lot of upside that we will probably talk about later. Sabine's Reclamation is just another Sun Titan. Here we have a lot of Wraths, and many of them come down early. We have the Day Judgment, Wrath of God, Devastating Mastery can be cast for 4 mana, and Hour of Revelation can be cast for 3. This is just to deal with early game commanders. You know who they are, where just a turn 6 Wrath might give them too much value. Being able to Wrath on turn 4 is very important. We're trying to Wrath on turn 4 and then turn 6, and then no Wraths from there on, but of course you're a slow deck, so if you need a Wrath again, you have to Wrath again. But with the amount of bombs we have in the deck, hopefully we don't have to fire off the legendary third wrath. But you can't really prepare for everything, so that's why we pack enough that we hit them. So just wraths are wraths, farewell is farewell. You know what it is. Enlightened Tutor finds us an enchantment or artifact. We'll go over those later. Brought back in Cosmic Intervention. Bring back fetch lands. We have a lot of fetch lands synergies and a lot of fetch lands. Brought back is a 2 mana ramp 2, and Cosmic Intervention is a 4 mana ramp 2. But if you have, it's a 4 mana ramp 2 for each fetch land you have. I'm not going to go over the Cosmic Intervention line right now, but if you are interested in it, you should look it up. The TLDR of it is it makes it so that each one of your fetch lands cracks 3 times. So you can do the math there. Expedition Map finds any land we want. Lost Jite is really good with Cloud, making it so that 2 counters get put on it, making so you can untap 2 lands or 1 land twice. Just very strong. We're testing it out right now, but in theory we can make a lot of mana, especially with the lands that tap for multiple mana, which we do have a good amount of. Sensei's Top is good. Sol Ring is good. Anvil is a way to Howling Mine, draw our opponents more cards, but this one is sneakily good because it makes people think that they're drawing a bunch of cards, but they're really drawing 1 card and discarding. They're drawing, their hand is the size as if they were drawing 1 card, but they're most likely drawn to lands, and then they'll play the land, play their stuff, and it will shrink their hand really quickly. And usually people aren't ready for that, but it's just like a fun little thing that you can do alongside your other Howling Mine effects. Of course, the downside goes away the more cards you draw for them, but for the most part, draw discard isn't as good as just drawing, so just keep that in mind. Dousing Dagger is a what is this? An equipment that flips into a land that taps for 3, synergizing again with our Lost Jite. Howling Mine is just a Howling Mine, draws our opponents more cards, which we've gone over, we don't really care about. Lightning Greaves gives our stuff haste. We have a lot of good attack triggers. Haste is just very good. There is a little Nombo with 8.5 Tails, making it so that 8.5 Tails can struggle to protect your creature. Sometimes, like let's say they're Blasphemous acting, you can't really protect the thing with Lightning Greaves, whereas in most cases you would be able to. But for the most part, it's worth it for the haste because of our haste synergies being so strong. The swords are swords, getting drawing cards, ramping, you know the deal. And if we have anything like Izatalpa or Cloud, doubling up on it is really nice. Font of Mythos is more card draw. One Ring here, because we have so much card draw, One Ring is mostly here to fog. But if you do use it to draw a bunch of cards, this is where Aerial Extortionist comes out, Farewell comes out. Our strategy is usually slow enough that we will die to our One Ring. So just make sure that if you are drawing cards with One Ring, just know that eventually you will have to destroy it yourself or you will die to it. But we can loop this with Aerial Extortionist, making it so that we don't die if we have both these out. So just a little synergy we have there. Probably the only person that doesn't really want to draw cards with the One Ring, but mostly use it for protection purposes. Mind's Eye, just great. We make a lot of mana. We can take a turn off, pretty much fuel our hand so that we can just Wrath the next turn and kind of deploy our hands quicker than our opponents with all our mana. Mind's Eye, just very good. Just a very good card. Coveted Jewel draws us 3 cards, makes us 3 mana. If someone takes it, that's great. It takes the heat off of them. Our commander makes it very easy to take the jewel back. And if someone's really like holding it and not letting anyone have it, we just Wrath it away. So Coveted Jewel, not as big of a downside as you would think it is. Also, it draws cards. So if we have Mind's Eye and we play Coveted Jewel, we can let people take the Coveted Jewel, and then when the trigger to steal it goes on the stack, we tap it for 3, they take it, they draw 3, and then we use that 3 mana to draw 3. So Coveted Jewel is kind of funny in that way if you have the Mind's Eye. Luminary Extension is so hard to turn on, but this is why we have the One Ring. Being able to Luminary Extension, One Ring makes it so that you can turn it on pretty easily. 8.5 Tails makes it so that you can pay 3, protect it. This is kind of like what we're if we can keep this alive, we'll win, but it's so hard. So if you don't like the Luminarx Ascension battle, I really like it. Just like trying your hardest to like, it's not a mediocre card, but for the amount of hate you get, you would think it's a lot stronger than it actually is. If you don't like that play pattern, definitely you can cut Luminarch Ascension, but pretty much we want to board wipe Luminarch Ascension, but usually it isn't that easy. But maybe in some of your play groups, it'll be that easy. So great card, really like it. Out of Time is just an early game board wipe. Again, we love to make it so that we can survive longer. It being 3 mana means that we can loop it really easily. If you don't like the play pattern of Out of Time, you can definitely cut it, but I think it's just too good to pass up. Don't get too comfy though. If you like phase out someone's lethal board, they can just blow it up and then lethal board you later. So don't get too comfy if someone has a lot under the Out of Time. Smuggler's Share and Trouble in Pairs and Smothering Tides are just 3 huge powerhouses when it comes to drawing our opponent's cards. Smuggler's Share and Trouble in Pairs make it so that our Howling Minds effects, or any effect that draws cards on our opponent's turns, will make it so that we draw a card as well. And like, let's say we Secret Rendezvous someone, now we're drawing an additional card, as well as if we have Smothering Tides, that's essentially 3 mana, it makes 3 mana for 3 mana and draws 3 cards. It's just the synergies for drawing our opponent's cards is really strong in white, and I think people are missing out on all the synergy you can have. I did cut the Alms Collector. I didn't realize that Alms Collector doesn't really work with Howling Mind because each one of these is 1 draw. It works with the Font of Mythos, but overall I didn't really feel like it was strong enough. However, there are a lot of things like Coveted Jewel and Secret Rendezvous that the Alms Collector can take advantage of, but I just feel like the Trouble in Pairs and Smuggler's Share just does its job, and we don't really need it. But if you love Alms Collector like me, you can definitely put it in the deck. We just kind of ran out of space. Lands are lands. We have the Deserted Temple to untap things, Emir Skyruin to kind of make sure that we can win in the late game. Drowned Temple to kind of ramp because we draw so many cards. We have a lot of fetches for our fetch synergies. Flagstone of Tarkir for sacking to our Lotus Field. The Guildless Commons and Bouselands are here to hit our land drops. Hall of Heliod's Generosity is here to combo with our Out of Time, but also brings back our powerful enchantments. Hall of the Bandit Lord, again, another way to get haste, because we have such good haste creatures that do really well if we have haste. Lotus Field taps for 3. We can untap it with all our untapped synergies, which is really great. And yeah, we have more fetches. We have the Talon Gates as ramp and way to interact with our opponent's creatures. Temple of False God is pretty much always turned on because we're hitting our land drop every turn. Thespian Stage to copy things. Vesuva to copy things. Urborg to turn on our temple if it's too early in the game, but also makes it so that we can tap our Hall of the Bandit Lord for mana without taking the damage, because that 3 life does definitely add up. And we have Urza's Cave to get those lands, and Yapi Maya as a second copy of Urborg. So hopefully you all did enjoy the video. It's a very political deck, a lot of fun. You can wrath the board and then wrath it again. We were struggling to close out games, and that's why we have such a density of big beaters. Hopefully this new amount of beaters will make it so that we can protect our Luminarch Ascension a little bit better. We can kind of pressure people's life totals a little bit better. And hopefully the new indestructible creatures will make it so that post-wrath we can hopefully put people on a quicker clock so we don't drag out the game too much. But a lot of fun here, a lot of unique synergies. Not too much of the commanders, mostly just a mono white deck, but the 8.5 synergies are a little bit there. I do think this is 8.5 Tails deck. It's just not as all in on its gimmick as the gimmick usually is losing. So definitely if you want to add more things that synergize with 8.5 Tails, like Painter Servant and all those, you can take out some of the cards that I said that you didn't really need in the deck. So hopefully you all did enjoy the video, and I hope to see you on the next one. Peace.